Namaste, everybody, and welcome. Sometimes during the day, we need a little bit of movement to cultivate a little bit more energy and allow us to ease any tension and refocus that we might need depending on what's been going on during the day. And sometimes it's always really nice to incorporate a little bit of upper body mobility and a little bit of stability around the spinal column, especially if we've been sitting a lot in a chair. So for this particular iteration of a little bit more of a dynamic sequence rather than just static movement, we're going to be incorporating a little bit of breath. So depending on your ability to be able to breathe through the nostrils evenly without feeling anxious, we're going to incorporate a lengthening of the inhalation and the exhalation in relationship to the poses. So we'll go from a hands and knees position to a downward facing dog position. And we're just going to incorporate a little bit of dynamism to the breath as we're moving a little bit more freely. So without going into a huge explanation in terms of the anatomical positioning of the body, sometimes we just want to get into the pose and be able to experience where we are in the body in any particular moment of the day. And this is what we can use this particular sequence for. If you have anything going on with the shoulders, maybe stick to just being on the hands and knees rather than coming up into that downward facing position. But anyway, we will start in that hands and knees position, eventually make our way back, and we'll be lowering the knees back and forth. So just do what's appropriate for you. So to begin with, I'm going to be in a hands and knees variation, just a slight turn out of the palms. And I have my feet tucked under. My knees, just like Tadasana, are going to be inner hip distance apart, toes tucked directly behind the knees. And I'm going to take my hands just a little bit more forward because I will be lifting my knees up and away from the floor, index finger pointing forward, and my spine is in a neutral position. So we're going to start by incorporating a little bit of that cat-cow through the spine, and then eventually make our way back into downward facing. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to exhale everything out. And then starting from the pelvis, I'm going to inhale and wheel the chest forward through the upper arms. My gaze is going to go a little forward. Then I'm going to exhale, keeping that length. I'm going to take my pelvis all the way back toward the heels. Spine is staying long. My head is still lifted, so I'm just gazing down. I inhale, I come forward again, really pressing through the palms, front of the spine lifted, keeping that length. And then I'm going to exhale, lift the knees, and I'm going all the way back toward downward facing. So maybe for the first round, taking a few moments in that downward facing position, little bend into the knees, heels behind the second toe, pressing firmly through the floor, just letting the neck lengthen, maybe looking towards the feet, but importantly, the front of the spine is still somewhat lifted. So from here, we're going to inhale and lift the heels up and away from the floor. So I'm keeping that length as if the front of my hips are lifting away from the floor. Then I'm going to slowly exhale, and I'm coming forward and lowering my knees simultaneously with the exhale. Then I'm going to inhale, I wheel my chest forward through the upper arms again. And then I exhale, I take my pelvis all the way back towards the heels. I'm keeping the length of the spine, the reach through the arms. Inhale forward. Wheel the chest forward through the upper arms. Notice the front of my shoulder is still lining up with the edge of my wrists. And then I exhale, I go all the way back to downward facing. So I'm just going to do that a couple of times with my breath to demonstrate how you might utilize this movement of the body. Inhale. Slow and controlled exhale. Hugging in through the side waists. Inhale. Exhale, slow and control, so as fast or slow as you need to move. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, slow and control all the way back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale all the way back. So again, another great way of utilizing the arms in relationship to the lower portion of the body, and also fluctuating with the breath. Heart rate might rise a little bit, but it's also a great way of centering the body because all of these movements are stabilizing the spinal column. Great thing to incorporate during the day, during your yoga practice, whatever it might be, maybe your movement routine. But again, nice way of incorporating upper body, lower body, and importantly, the movement of inhale, exhale in our breath. Hopefully that was helpful, and namaste.